Yesterday, I came back from our ecumenical solidarity visit to Sudan, and I bring a broken heart and a very sad experience that I had, because the people of Sudan are in a dire situation and they are in a crisis. I went there together with the General Secretary, but the delegation included members, representatives of the ACT Alliance. It included the regional representatives of the All Africa Conference of Churches and these sub-regional actors from FECLA and the South Sudan Council of Churches. And we were hosted by the Sudan Council of Churches. The purpose of this visit was three-pronged. First, we were there to understand the challenges that the people of Sudan are facing. But secondly, we were also there to make sure that we provide encouragement, not only to the faith communities, the member churches as there, but also to communicate to them how the worldwide fellowship of churches was supporting and willing to support them. The third purpose, of course, was for us to agree with them what was the appropriate way to intervene in the crisis that the people are facing. When we arrived in Sudan, we were able to encounter four categories of people. First, we had a meeting with members of the WCC, member churches of the WCC, together with all the other ecumenical fellowships. This included the leadership of the Catholic Church, represented by the bishop there, the bishop of the Anglican Church, and the members of the Sudan Christian Council, and other faith organizations that constitute the ecumenical body in Sudan. To our surprise, almost all the participants in this meeting are people who have fled Khartoum and have moved to Port Sudan, where they are living there as refugees. So these are people who were telling the harrowing experiences that they faced. Many of them, they still have relatives that are trapped in Khartoum, or the relatives who have fled Khartoum to go to Jazeera, but then Jazeera got attacked, and some of them are still trapped in Jazeera or in Khartoum. But these are the lucky few who have managed to flee to Port Sudan for safety. And they told us the many challenges that they are facing. These include displacement. Almost 10 million people have lost their homes. They are scattered all over the country, and they are desperate because they do not have assurance when they are going to go back to their homes. Many of these people, even if they go back to their homes, they will find that they have looted homes, because their homes were looted and destroyed. They are sharing that children have not been going to school now for almost a year. Children have not been going to school. And you can imagine the desperation. But these people are not just suffering, not doing anything. We were being told a very encouraging story by a woman who has managed to organize the children in the school where they are camping right now, and they've started to providing classes for the children. And for the children who are under the age of 7, they've prepared some routines where they can play with them and where they can give them some moments to draw, to get the children to express their feelings of the war that is raging in their country. They also, of course, told us the terrible stories of rape of women. And here, this is very sad, because we know that many of the women who have been raped and who have been abused, many of them do not have immediate medical support. They do not have immediate psychosocial support. And this is heartbreaking, because these people are living with traumatized experiences, and they do not know whether they are going to get out of this situation anytime soon. And the church leaders we met, of course, they have one main message. They want the war to stop. This is very clear and emphatic from the church members. They want the war to stop. Of course, they have a second request. They need humanitarian assistance. They need basics. They need food. They need water. They need medical help. And these humanitarian needs are urgent, and they need help. And we know that there has been humanitarian calls for Sudan, but the responses have been very, very meager and very limited, because there are, of course, other conflicts going on in Gaza, in the Middle East, and in Russia, Ukraine. But the people in Sudan are in desperate need. Many of them who are displaced and they're scattered all over the country are in desperate need of food. And of course, there are those who have been displaced but who have moved to other countries. These also are in desperate need. So this is the outcry. They want the war to stop, and they are in desperate need of humanitarian service. Then we met the second group of actors. These are the political actors, and we had an opportunity to meet, of course, the Sudanese president, the General Burhan, who is, of course, on the other side of the conflict. It was very important for us to communicate the message from the World Council of Churches that we want to accompany the people of Sudan on a clear path to negotiated peace. And of course, we also met his deputy president. We also met the head of the intelligence and security services. And we communicated this same message. They helped us to appreciate, from their perspective, to appreciate the causes of the conflict, and why the recent efforts towards a negotiated solution have failed. They also shared with us their blueprint towards national peace and reconciliation. And we brought this message from them, but we also made it very clear that the World Council of Churches was willing to contribute to the peace processes in Sudan. It is not the first time the World Council of Churches has been engaged in Sudan, so we emphasized that we are not beholden to any political interests. We are not serving any political agenda. What we want to see is peace based on justice prevail in Sudan, and therefore we shared our commitment. The third group of people we met are the humanitarian actors. These are diverse humanitarian actors from the Protestant churches, but also from the Catholic relief services, those who are working from the Sudan Council of Churches, and the other faith-based organizations that are operating in Sudan. They gave us very detailed description of the crisis. They helped us to understand. They disaggregated the numbers of people who are affected and the intensity of the effects on many of these people. But they also helped us to appreciate the efforts they are making, even in the conflict zones, how they have managed to develop some kind of relationship with both the rapid support forces that are fighting the Sudanese regular army. And they told us the kind of support they have managed to elicit from these warring factions so that they can deliver humanitarian services. They told us it's very difficult to access some areas, but they are managing, and they need to continue receiving resources so that they can continue to provide the support that these people need. The fourth group that we met were the Inter-Religious Council of Sudan, the Muslim Council of Sudan. This was a very important conversation because, as you may know, Sudan is largely Muslim. And but the kind of Islam you find in Sudan is very tolerant kind of Islam. So the Islamic Council was very helpful because they are working, of course, to also towards peace. They made one clear proposal. They want to work with the Christians in Sudan to propose a national pact for peace. So they are proposing that they are going to be working on this pact for peace, inter-religious pact for peace, which they are going to work together with Christians, and they want to propose this to the politicians. They believe, yes, the politicians have got their own approach, which is military, and they cannot intervene on this. But what they can do is to mobilize all the people of Sudan towards a national agenda for peace that is based on dialogue and reconciliation. And we think that this is an important contribution because it is going to bring together not only Muslims and Christians, but also will bring together civil society actors so that together they reimagine a homegrown solution to finding peace in Sudan. And we as the WCC, as the World Council of Churches, working together with other ecumenical bodies, we are willing to support these initiatives in Sudan. We think that the Worldwide Fellowship of the World Council of Churches can support the people of Sudan in three ways. The first way, obviously, is that they are in need of our prayers. We need to pray for the people of Sudan. We need to raise awareness of the plight of Sudan. The situation in Sudan is so dire, but we realize that it is not in the media. And the Western media is currently preoccupied with what is happening in the Middle East. And of course, it's important. But we feel that there's been the story of the people in Sudan is neglected. We need to pray for these people. We need to lift them up in our prayers, but also we need to raise awareness. The second contribution we can make is humanitarian. We need to make sure that they are provided for. Everything we can think of that can sustain life needs to be shared with the people of Sudan. As I was leaving Port Sudan, I was in a plane with many people who were flying to Cairo. Many of them are sick. When we were getting off the plane, many of them were put on wheelchairs. So many people who are displaced are malnourished. They are in need of water. They are in need of food. They are in need of medicine. Anywhere in where our member churches are, it will be prudent if they can find a way to make sure that humanitarian supplies are sent, money is sent to Sudan so that the people are taken care of. The third issue that I think we can also do is that we can highlight the plight of the Sudanese people with our governments. Many governments are taking the situation in Sudan in a very passive way. We can inform our governments, we can highlight with our governments, we can advocate with our governments that they need to do something about the situation in Sudan. What we are realizing is that there are many outside hands that are are affecting possibilities for peace in Sudan. There are interested governments that are competing and supporting the two factions in Sudan, which makes possibilities for peace in Sudan difficult. We need to advocate with our governments so that there is a common agenda for peace, supported by everyone, supported by the UN, supported by the AU, and supported by EGAD, and supported by all interested parties that are supporting the warring factions. The warring factions, the continuation of war is not benefiting the people of Sudan, and it must come to a stop. And our governments can amplify this message, and our member churches in different countries can do that.